General spending totals 140. Let me use the pounds. 126.8 million on 5 arrivals.
For January alone.
Yes.
Hey.
On 5 arrivals.
Chelsea.
Just 5 players. 126.8 million pounds on 5 arrivals. Then last summer, Chelsea spent 270 million pounds. The 270 million pounds that Chelsea spent was the second highest summer spend by any club in the world. 270 million pounds that Chelsea spent in the summer was the second highest summer spent by any club in the world after Real Madrid. Real in 2019 spent 292 million. So 292 million as against Chelsea's 270 million. So that's it. I was talking about rules. If you go to the Premier League, they have what they call the profit and sustainability rules in the Premier League. Mm-hmm. So you have to make profit. You also have to make sure that your team is sustainable. Sustaining your team doesn't mean that you always have to make profit. And I can't say you can even break even, but still be able to sustain your team. Then, as Chelsea also plays in the Champions League, Chelsea also have UEFA's financial fair play regulation, just like I was saying. But let me quickly run you through the two rules, and you understand how or why some of these clubs are struggling to make those purchases and go into the transfer market and things like that. If you go to the Premier League profitability and sustainability rules, it allows for total losses of 105 million pounds over a 3-year period. Total losses of 105 million pounds over a 3-year period.
I don't get that point.
You can make a loss for a 3-year period, but it shouldn't go beyond 105 million pounds.
So once it goes beyond 105 million pounds,
you are in trouble.
That's an offense.
Yeah.
So it means that
penalties. You face penalties and even points deduction.
So Javier, it means that in a year your loss must be around 35 million.
Yes.
Wow. In England.
Yes. So if you exceed 35 million.
So we are talking about total losses of 105 million pounds over a 3-year period.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
I get it.
So that's the first point. Then if you go to UEFA, they also have their financial fair play. And UEFA's current rules, clubs can spend up to 4.4 million pounds more than they earn over a 3-year period. So for clubs under the financial fair play, UEFA's financial fair play rules, clubs can spend up to 4.4 million pounds more than they earn over a 3-year period. They can exceed this level to a limit of 26.6 million pounds if it's entirely covered by the club's owner. So if you look at Chelsea, for instance, when Abramovich was there, he gave Chelsea something in the region of about 2 billion pounds as loan.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So that's what the rules are saying. And because Chelsea is doing what they are doing now, UEFA wants to change the rules. Because what Chelsea is doing is within the Premier League's profit and sustainability.
So that was
rules.
going to be my next question.
It's also within the financial fair play rules. So UEFA says that teams are being very crafty. They are finding ways and means to circumvent the rules. So
but there's nothing wrong with it anyway, because I mean these clubs are also bringing in a lot of revenue to make sure they balance their books in the end.
You know what Todd Boehly is doing at Chelsea? He signs a player for Mudryk, for instance, came for 8.5 years.
Yeah,
this is the longest in the Premier League history. 8.5-year contract with Chelsea. So what they've done is that they spread the cost over 8.5-year period.
Like amortization.
Yeah, in accounting, what you normally do is that when if you buy a player, what they do is that they spread it over the life of the contract.
Okay.
But when they sell a player, even though the payment they receive will be in the form of installment, they will not receive the bulk figure at once.
Okay.
In their books, they put the bulk figure there, even though they are going to receive payment in installment.
So I'm coming. If you are balancing your books, which figure are you going to put in there?
So what the clubs do is that if they sell, let's say, Mudryk for 80 million pounds in their books, they put 80 million pounds, bam, there. When in actual fact,
they are paying like 10 million pounds every year.
Yes, over an 8-year period.
I see.
That's what the clubs are doing now. So UEFA says that they are not going to allow players or teams to extend or sign players for extended contracts. Then they are setting a 5-year limit.
So you can't go beyond.
No.
Okay.
UEFA says that UEFA is set to set a 5-year limit over which a transfer fee can be spread. So you can't spread a transfer fee over a period of 5 years. Then if you go to England, clubs will still be able to offer longer deals under UK regulations, but will not be able to stretch transfer fees beyond the first 5 years, so just like I mentioned. Then the changes are what I'm going to talk about. New UEFA rules introduced last June limits club spending on wages, transfers, and agents fees to 70% of their revenue. So what it means is that your spending on wages, your spending on transfers, your spending on agents fees must not exceed 70% of your revenue. Let's say all the permitted losses over a 3-year period have risen to 49.9 million. So initially it was just like about 30 something, but it's gone up to 49.9 million, 49.5 million pounds. Then a gradual implementation of the rules has been agreed with a percentage set at 90% of revenue in 2023-24, 80% in 24-25, before reducing it to 70% in 25-26. So these are all the rules that UEFA want to come up with, so that at least clubs will stay afloat. So this is what they are saying is that you can't sign a player for more than 5 years.
Basically, they are targeting Chelsea.
You can't spread the...
No, but they are targeting Chelsea.
Yeah.
Because apart from Chelsea, how many clubs in Europe do sign players beyond a 6-year period?
So you can't sign and spread the contract over the life of a contract for, let's say, more than 5 years. You have to work within a period of 5 years. And I mean, Todd Boehly, but people talked about the fact that he's not had any experience in football. He's not bought any football club. But I mean, he's gotten some very good people behind him who are very, very good when it comes to giving financial advice.
Okay.
And so far, he's been very good. Let me just quick one. Chelsea in and out. I think Afifi mentioned Kukurea came for 60 million pounds.
Wow.
Raheem Sterling 50 million. Koulibaly 33 million pounds. Chukwuemeka 20 million pounds. Casadei came for 12 million pounds. Wesley Fofana came for 70 million pounds. Aubameyang from Barcelona for 10.3 million pounds. Gabriel Slodina for 8 million pounds. Denis Zakaria came on loan. Then Benoit Bediashile came from Monaco for 35 million pounds. David Datro Fofana for 8 million pounds. Andre Santos for 10 million pounds. Yao Felix for 9.7 million pounds loan. Then Mudryk came for 89 million pounds. But they also sold some players. So they are just trying to balance the books. If you look at the players that have also left Chelsea, I mean, 2020 to 2023, Morata is gone for 31, Tammy Abraham for 34, Kezuma for 29.8, Fikayo Tomori for 24 million, Timo Werner for 25 million, Emerson for 30 million, and then Mario Pasalic to Atlanta for 12.8 million.
But
so,
it is nowhere near to the, how do you call it?
But
it's not close to
the point I'm making is that they are still working within the rules. They are still working within the rules. They've been very crafty. They've been very, very ingenious. They are working within the rules. That is why UEFA wants to step in. Because if they don't step in, you see, you make rules and people become so clever, and they want smart and they just
find a way to navigate.
Yes, make sure that at least they find their way around the rules. So UEFA has come in and said that this time around, these are the new set of rules that we have come up with, and the clubs must make sure that they follow these rules for them to stay afloat. So that's basically it.
Okay, so